Azzurri, let's go Italian, with the Equipe Atomo from Diadora, entirely designed, developed, and manufactured in Italy at Diadora's factory with the assistance of Gelindo Borden, who was 1988 Olympic marathon champion and 1989 Boston winner. Sam from Road Trail Run here. We're going to take a look at the Diadora Equipe Atomo, $195, entirely made in Italy. And Diadora will remind us they're made in Italy because we have this little rubber piece at the front, made in Italy, and we have a cool Italian flag with those gold high reflective overlays, which are not so much for support, but they are reflective. It will release November 30th. So this is a trainer to up-tempo shoe from Diadora, not a brand known in recent years for performance running shoes, but in all of our testing, our multi-tester written review, which you can also see linked here, we all agree this is a very, very nice new entry from Diadora. Now, we have it in two colors, Azzurri. As we're talking Italy here, we have the blue, the home game of the famous Italian soccer team's blue, and the women's here is in the away white. So very cool kind of angle there to that. So it weighs 8.7 ounces, 246 grams in a US 9 in the men's, and it weighs 7.8 ounces, 221 grams in the women's based on our samples here. Now, what's really cool here is that we have a full stack height as measured by our Derek Lee of 36-31, a little bit less for the women's. And that puts this shoe clearly in the maximal cushion category and at a very light weight. So let's talk a little bit about the underfoot platform. So this is DD Anima, which is a blend of EVA and a polymer that's from the rubber family. So we get some rebound that's definitely, there's more kind of dense rebound here than say Power Run from Saucony. It's somewhat similar to the rubberized foam in some of the Mach 4, for example, but here it has kind of a quicker, denser, kind of shorter amplitude rebound. It's a very, very well cushioned shoe and very, very stable as well, because we have a very wide underfoot platform at the midfoot here and through the forefoot. We also, all of our testers have noted remarkable durability from the DD5000 rubber here. I have about 30 miles. We have testers at over 100 kilometers, and we're all seeing almost to no wear whatsoever. This is a really good rubber compound. And then in another surprise, our DD Anima foam, where it's exposed, where it might hit the road, again, no wear whatsoever really at all. So this is a kind of what you might call an outsole grade midsole, maybe similar to what we see in the Fresh Foam Beacon, and of course what we see in the Mach 4, which has an all rubberized foam underfoot. So the upper is a beautiful engineered mesh with lots of different zones of density. You see the breathability up front. We've got a pretty stout toe bumper. The mesh gets denser as you go towards the midfoot. The fit here is performance daily training. It's not a super wide fit. All of us have been very pleased with the lockdown here. It's really superb. However, if you have a wide foot, you may struggle a bit. The upper did stretch a bit over time, so it became more accommodating, but this is not a wide fit. But I think normal to narrower feet will be very super happy here. We've all been great. My wife Dominique, in hers, she agrees. While at first they were a bit snug over the bunion areas, The fit is true to size, although she feels they might be a bit short for her at her usual 9, and that's what that is. I didn't experience any of that. I'm fine. As far as the tongue, we've got a moderately padded tongue here. We've got a really stout heel counter with a softer collar, quite narrow. We all noted that there's some folding if you're not careful as you're slipping them on, so you got to be aware of that. So this is a shoe clearly comparable to both the Clifton and the Mach 4. It's I think livelier and if not quite as roomy as the Clifton. They were quite stiff. It does have a rocker initially, but after about 30 miles, we get a combination of rocker and flexibility, which really has them moving along. Now I'm going to take them out. I've taken them out actually, and give you some impressions from the run, both in terms of fit and ride from beautiful Park City here. So please stay tuned. So it'll launch in November, $195. And you say, whoa, that's kind of expensive. However, it should prove to be a super durable, long-lasting shoe. And you can be assured it's made 100% in Italy by craftsmen who are making a totally living wage.
So, with a view of the canyons, let's talk about the fit of our Diadora Equipe Atomo. True to size fit, but on the small and narrow side. I have a relatively thick sock here, well, medium, let's say, and length is just about right, a bit short. My wife thinks she could go up half a size. The panels really lock you in, but if you have a wider feet, you're probably going to struggle with this shoe. My left foot is wider than my right. In terms of the hole, just absolutely superb. From heel to front, very easy lacing. The panels at the midfoot, at the heel, really lock down your foot. Derek Lee thought this is one of the very best performance-oriented uppers of the year for him, and I would tend to agree. Don't come here expecting sort of that easygoing, loosey-goosey fit. One of the advantages of this upper is that it helps keep you stable. As I said before, we have a wide platform here. Of course, you've got all those details. The little made in Italy on the toe. You've got many areas of ventilation and denser mesh in this upper. You can see the front, the wide open holes for ventilation, then the denser mesh there down the middle of the toe. No bother on the toes for that. Even though it's pretty low, there's still some give. The heel hold is excellent. The only comment we've had about the upper is the tab, the Achilles tab. Tends to fold over a bit when you're putting them on if you're not careful, but it does maintain a really good hold. That narrow opening with a soft top, just about right. The tongue, moderately padded, a little bit of slippage, but really not too much. Really a superb, more performance to training oriented upper here. I've run some trails in them. I could easily see this being a great trail shoe upper as well. We're going to keep going around Willow Creek, and I'll give you some comments on the ride in a little bit. So let's talk about the ride of our Atomo here. So as I said earlier, the foam here is a combination of EVA and a very dense polymer that's rubber-based, and it's supposedly a heavy material. So while the shoe only weighs 8.7 ounces, 246 grams in a US 9, that denser material gives the shoe some really neat, kind of very measured, quick rebound that's kind of dense. It's very, very, very protective, very stable feeling. It does have a rocker type profile, but it's moderate. You do feel a bit of a final toe-off effect.
The Equipe was quite rigid and a bit sluggish for the first 20 miles because it was so stiff, but it definitely loosened up at about 25 miles. And now you have a nice combination of rocker and flex, something I really like.
foot, we have a very broad platform at midfoot. So this shoe is inherently stable. I am amazed, and all of our testers have been amazed by the durability of the rubber here. Absolutely no wear. And then also very significantly, and I've been running a lot of dirt, as you can see here, the midsole foam itself that's exposed has almost no wear whatsoever, and everybody's saying the same thing. So this midsole foam is what some might call an outsole grade, I think, midsole foam, and that maybe that rubber component enters into the picture. So it's something a bit like what's in the Mach 4 from Hoka. However, unlike the Mach 4, it's a little bit firmer, a little denser, a little snappier, I think, although not quite as flexible. A few last thoughts on the upper here. We all thought the upper is just absolutely spectacular. It is a performance kind of fit. You can see how much denser the weaving or the knitting is at the midfoot and at the toe bumper and other key areas for support, but then you've got lots of breathability as well. So I'll show you a little bit of, what that mesh feels like. You can see it's quite thick, quite dense, but it has some pliability. Toe bumper really firm here, but I haven't been bumping the front, although they do run a bit short and a bit narrow. I think the bunion kind of protecting elements on both sides contributes a bit to that feeling of narrowness. So the tongue is well padded, as you can see. Relatively firm. There's no gusset tongue here. The Achilles collars, very, very nicely done. You've got a very rigid heel counter, and then you've got this pliable on top. Now that led to some issues putting them on. This sometimes has a tendency of folding over, but once you're on, you have a combination of super, super secure hold and a gentle hold up above, but super secure. You can see the width here. So my conclusions, a really, really excellent daily trainer to up-tempo shoe. If you like a very light shoe with a ton of cushioning, particularly noticeable in the forefoot. Superb quality here of execution and materials. And of course, you got that Azzurri Italian team sport and soccer colors in the blue, the Azzurra here, and then in the away motif for the women with those gold reflective highlights, the flag, the pull thing, not sure what that's for, but it is the reflective element. And of course, we've got the little made in Italy tag up front. The shoe is 100% made in Italy. Everything from the foam to the upper to all elements made in Italy by craftsmen in the Diadora factory. So while it's $195, you've got just a masterpiece, really, of shoemaking, I'd say, taken to the modern times, with Galindo Bordin involved. You can be assured that the workers in that factory are getting paid a living wage, that's for sure, and that kind of helps explain or justify maybe the $195 price tag if that works for you. So style, made in Italy, very solid performing daily trainer at a super light weight for the max cushion, only 8.7 ounces, 246 grams. All of our testing to date indicates the midsole and outsole durability should be truly outstanding, and you'll get a lot of miles out of this shoe. Thank you very much for watching. Our full multi-tester review of the Diadora Equipe Atomo will be over on RoadTrailRun.com. Have a great run.